this is Henry with another review from GP Airsoft. Today we'll be taking a look at the Hwasan double barrel shotgun. Now, a little background on this little toy here is that it came from the 1850s and it was called the coach gun. It was made by Remington Arms. The reason why they called it the coach gun was because, well, it's obvious, they carried around on little coaches with a horse and carriage, and it was to defend money being transferred from bank to bank. Now, with the history out of the way, I first want to take a look at these shells, because this gun works almost like a mini grenade launcher. So let's examine it a little bit further. Here it is. It splits off into two pieces, as so, and it reveals a gasket here holding in the gas. The BBs are loaded into here. 7 6mm BBs can fit at max, provided that you can put less if you wish. And the gas is filled in here. Mainly, it's meant for green gas. This is the piston that pushes on the back, just like a grenade launcher. Now, to open up this small unit, you twist like so, revealing some threading and a rubber gasket. First the shell, then the spring, and then the gas valve, and then the threading. And there's your takedown of the shell. Now let's take a look at the gun. First we see that there's some sort of trademark that they had made on here. It says Gas Gun Combat Shotgun 12 gauge blank. You turn it around. On the other side it says FS so and so and so, made in Taiwan, Hwasan toys. Now I wanted to comment on this. I'm not sure the history behind it, but retailers sell this gun calling it the Hwasan. And on here it says Hwasan. And I've also seen other places occasionally say KJW had something to do with this gun. But nonetheless, it's a great gun, and let's take a further look at it. So, it breaks open as so with this small lever. Pushing it to the left will lock the barrels in. Pushing it to the right will make it vulnerable to break open as you pull. And if you look inside very closely, you'll see that there's two small barrels. It's not just an open barrel. These barrels can be taken out and cleaned very easily. If you look here on the bottom of the barrels, there's two Allen key holes. If you twist those out, it loosens a rubber knob on the end of the gun that allows this rubber piece to fall through, exposing the barrel. I also wanted to notice a pretty interesting feature here. This little triangle here helps the shell eject once you have closed the gun and opened it, as so. So that way you don't have to sit there picking out the shell out of the barrel. And for some other small notes, the rear sight is not removable, but the front sight twists off very easy, say if it had broken off, if you somehow find a replacement for it. The entire gun is metal, the lower receiver, at least that's what I call it, and the barrels. Now I've also had knowledge before that this gun was sold with the barrels being plastic. Now, I personally haven't ran into one of those yet, but I would imagine it's the same quality. And in case you're wondering how the pins are fired, like I explained earlier, it was exactly the same as a grenade. You put it in fire, which is back, and these pins come out here. The triggers push two pins. Also, what makes this gun very interesting is that this wood here is actual real wood. It's no cheap furniture, and it's not even a cheap type of wood. It's a nice red, dark, glossy finish. Now, in case you're wondering how would you clean this gun, it's extremely simple. It breaks apart as so. There's a small latch underneath the front handguard, pulls right off, and you would open it as if you were loading the two shells, pull upward, and there you go. Now you're asking, what exactly do I clean on here? No, your usual parts. You definitely want to oil this part, lube it very good so it's easy to use the brake action option. And it's very easy to swab these out once you have the barrel in this position. Also, I wanted to note, you can also spray silicone inside here in these two trigger ports, making the trigger action very easy, as well as the the safety action. Now this gun also opens up further, but it gets very complicated once it's inside this handle. There's a small trigger system that's very fragile to tamper, which is not too hard to put back together once you have it. But right now I'm not going to open it because it is kind of complicated. However, if you are experienced with airsoft guns and small mechanisms, then you wouldn't have a problem putting this back together if you were to open this up. Now, if you're curious how to put it back together, it latches in on a rod. Pull it back up, lock it in, go back to your foregrip, place it in, and you're good to go. Also, another thing that I wanted to note is that you're wondering how this barrel stops from moving all the way down. That's right here. You see how it meets, both the metals meet, and it scratches the paint. The reason I wanted to mention this is because people like to be action heroes and open and close it really fast. I have a fear this metal might bend and it might scratch it, but that's if you're really worried about cosmetics. Otherwise, it hasn't broken in any places so far. In case you're wondering how this trigger system worked, it's quite simple. The one that's pushed out farther to the left shoots the left barrel. One that's pushed out farther to the right shoots the right barrel. Now if you're wondering, is it easy to shoot this with both triggers at the same time? It's pretty easy, except you have to put your palm a little bit higher up on the gun rather than hold it down here, as you can see. Now this Hwasan double barrel shotgun is going to run you about $200 to almost $250. And the shells right here, which are CNC machine metal, will run you about $35 for a pair. Now, my personal opinion, it's worth every penny, cosmetically and performance-wise. Some people say that this gun's not worth it as a primary, which is understandable because you only get 2 shots per load. Now, I've actually used this as a primary before, provided I have more shells than 2, and it works very well. The gun can shoot up to, let's say, it shot around 70 feet accurately for a shotgun burst. It spreads out pretty nice depending on the BBs you use. Say if you use .25s with green gas, these BBs will shoot as far as maybe as 50 accurately, and beyond that you might hit a target you're not sure. Now with 20s, considering that it's a lighter BB, it will shoot farther and it will lose a little bit of accuracy, but you get that shotgun blast type of feel. Now there's one more thing that I want to mention about the shotgun shell before we go. Considering that it's a gas type system, people have said on reviews online that the O-rings break very easily. I'm not sure why this particular type of shell breaks very easily, but I haven't had the problem happen to me yet. Now, if you happen to find a slightly cracked O-ring inside your shell, using silicone oil to lube it very well will help it out. The problem had happened to me slightly, where the shell wasn't holding the gas and it would seep out. So like I said before, I sprayed it very thoroughly with the silicone oil and tried it, and it had blocked the seal.
What gun are you using?
The Hwasan double barrel shotgun.
You loading it right now?
Yeah.
You gonna shoot some poor fly flying by?
I think I'm gonna hit shit from this angle.
I got it.
This has been another Airsoft review by GP Airsoft. Thanks for watching, and for any questions, feel free to email us.